Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stormwatch. I'm your host, Luis De Leon, and we have a whole lot to talk about today. Emmanuel Espino gives us some math tips. Shelton Love gives us a look inside the animation department. Kyle Rogers sits down with an entrepreneurship instructor. Sarai Perez gives us a look at public safety here at MATC. And Dan Hansen gives us a look at the lack of a football team here at MATC. All that and more coming up on this week's edition of Stormwatch. It's opening day here in Milwaukee, and that'll be our theme for today's episode. But before we get to that, we're going to meet with Mr. Mike LaFrata, who's going to give us some helpful math tips. From there, we will see what's going on down in the animation department.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome to LaFrata's Math Tips. Today I'm going to show you a shortcut on adding negatives. As simple as it may sound, many people still get confused when doing this. So after today, you should never have a problem adding negatives. So let's get started. I call this method the LaFrata Circle Plus method. So for the first example, we're going to try a positive 5 minus a positive 3. So what you do is circle plus the 3. And after that, you write the problem, and it becomes a positive 5 plus a negative 3, which then equals a positive 2. See how simple that was to do? Let's do another one. So we have a positive 6 minus a positive 7 plus 4 minus a positive 1 plus 5. So then we circle plus the 7 and the 1. When we do that, we end up with a positive 6 plus a negative 7 plus 4 plus a negative 1 plus 5. And now all you do is add all the numbers, and your answer is a positive 7. Remember, algebra is a process. Once you get this process down, it won't matter how big the numbers get. So with that being said, I'm going to show you one more example, and this time I'm going to add an extra step. For our final example, we have a positive 9 minus a positive 2 minus a positive 5 plus 6 minus a positive 3 minus a positive 1 plus 7. So I hope you have memorized by now that you circle plus the 2, the 5, the 3, and the 1. And then we rewrite the problem, and it should look like a positive 9 plus a negative 2 plus a negative 5 plus 6 plus a negative 3 plus a negative 1 plus 7. Now here's the extra step that I have added. Instead of adding all the circle plus numbers mixed around in the problem, let's keep them all together. So we should have a negative 2 plus a negative 5 plus a negative 3 plus a negative 1 plus 9 plus 7. You then add them all together, and your answer is a positive 5. When many of the incoming students take the AccuPlacer test, small problems like this will throw them off, which causes low test scores and them having to take an extra math class. So if you have any other questions on any other problems, I have other shortcuts up my sleeve that I can teach you. I sometimes hang around the Math and Science Lab in the C building at the downtown campus, or you can shoot me an email through the MATC Gmail. Unfortunately, I've run out of time. Thank you all for tuning into LaFrata's Math Tips. I hope you all keep practicing your algebra, and wish you all a great rest of your day.
The program that I am in is animation, and it is about animating and film production and making movies, television shows, video games, and all that.
Well, it's 3D animation, so like, video games, movies, TV shows even. There's just a lot you can do with it, honestly.
Learning how to use certain softwares in the animation world, 3D or 2D. Specifically, they don't use cells or paper anymore, it's all digital. And if you're using 3D, it's a completely different world than 2D, but you can mix both of them, which is kind of cool, and you learn that in the program.
I joined the program because, I don't know, I always wanted to do art. I kind of bounced around, do a couple different degrees before I landed on this, and animation just fit really, really well.
I met one of the teachers, Tim Decker, at an art store. He was doing like a demonstration, and I wanted some art supplies anyway, so I figured I'd just stop by. And I was interested in comics at the time, and I knew he worked for like Disney and The Simpsons, so I thought I'd just stop by and ask him a few questions or whatever. And then he suggested here, so.
In the beginning, they don't do anything but simple, primitive, blocks and circles and have you rotate them and whatnot. Second semester goes more into environment and set design. You start using your lighting more, and if it's too bright, it looks silly. If it's that right tone, then it feels good, it's inviting. That's where I learned my Kohler and everything. They actually had a guy come in from Kohler Industries and talk to us, and if your stuff is really good, then you might have a job for that if you want to build bathrooms for the rest of your career.
Projects I've worked on at school is the lip sync, the lip sync final. It's where you model a head and then, or like someone's face and all that. And then you rig it and then animate it. And you can pick any sound clip you want. It has to be 10 seconds. And then you do the whole facial expressions and lips, all according to what the audio is.
So some of the projects that we're currently working on, we are working on motion capture right now, which is like when you see in movies like those people with those like body suits on and all the dots everywhere. It makes me think of like Lord of the Rings, like the guy who did Gollum. We're learning how to capture like a live actor and then put it in like a 3D space or a 2D space.
It's just really satisfying to see how far your project has come, and to see it done and be like, wow, like it actually looks way better than how crappy it looked before, I guess. Progress.
The feeling I get when I see the final touches on my project is a mixture of satisfaction and relief that it's over with.
You're done, you're like, whoa, like I did that. And you put your texture and your material on it, and some people can look at your computer and be like, oh, that's a cool picture, and I'm like, I built all that. Like that's not an actual picture somebody took. But then for them to be confused and go, whoa, that looks like a real picture, that's just such a high for you, it's insane.
The animation department offers so much more to students. The program is awesome. If you want to learn more about MATC's animation department, you can contact Tim Decker or visit MATC's downtown campus on the first floor.
It's a lot of wonderful animations. Thank you guys for those interesting reports. Next up, if you're thinking about starting your own business, then MATC might have the right tools you need to succeed. And after the students have many free services provided by MATC, and public safety is no exception. Zaraí Perez takes a look at what some of these free services are and gives us some understanding of what public safety does.
Some people have dreams of running their own business, and here at MATC, the students are getting the knowledge they need from entrepreneurship instructor Armin Hajinian, who has owned his own business and has even wrote his own textbook to help his students understand the business world a little bit better.
When I started the entrepreneurship program, I rebuilt the curriculum. And at first I was going to use a textbook, and based on people's opinion, they said they wanted something. So I started reviewing the texts, and one of the problems I ran into was that they were about 300 or 400 pages long, and they were pretty expensive. Either that, they really didn't relate to what we were talking about. In other words, someone might write a book that glamorized themselves and how they did it, but it wasn't relatable to one of our students. So I was approached by a publisher, and they said, could you write a text plan? At first I thought no, but then I thought, well, wait a minute, I've had enough experiences, I'll try it, and so I did.
Not only did Armin write a textbook, he has also created some new courses in the Entrepreneurship program to help the students get enough information before they graduate.
I did that over the course of a summer, and there's 5 courses in all. It's Introduction to Entrepreneurship, Product Development, Business Communication, which basically works on getting the word out about your business, and then Business Strategy or Business Plan, and then Presentation. So it deals on, you might say, being able to get out there and express what you're doing.
He has also made these classes convenient for people with busy schedules.
What we've done is we've converted them to 8-week formats, and we offer them in a blended format, so online as well as face-to-face. Throughout the course, Armin does as much as he can to help the students succeed outside of MATC. The way we help our students is in a number of ways. One, we give them, academic education. 2, we actually help the students that have businesses or are thinking of starting a business. We give them concrete examples or concrete steps to follow, so they don't waste money, don't waste time, and at the end of the course are able to have like a portfolio that they can build off of. The goal of this course is to teach students what they are going to need to know to make it on their own after they graduate. The entrepreneurship program here at MATC is twofold. One, classes, but the other service that we provide is for faculty, staff, and students to explore entrepreneurship on their own. So it's not just for students in my class, it's also students, faculty, and staff that are interested in starting their own businesses.
Public safety.
There are a few things MATC's public safety offers students that we might not be aware of.
Our main focus here at MATC Public Safety is something called community-oriented policing. And it's partnering with your students, your staff, and your faculty. The college has something called an emergency response plan. It's currently on the MATC website. That's available to all students and employees.
What it is, it incorporates any type of emergency that may occur at the campus. Fire, evacuation, lockdown.
Hand in hand with that is something called our CERT team.
The CERT team is now available to students who sign up at the beginning of each semester.
The CERT classes are really an introductory short course, an informational item to let students, faculty, and staff know what to do and what to expect during an emergency, such as an active shooter. It's very important that when such an incident would occur, they know what to do, and that's why we do these drills twice a year.
Besides drills and lockdowns, public safety are also trained in first aid, AED, and CPR.
We will respond, assess the situation, and we will get the appropriate responders, whether it be Milwaukee Fire Department or Bell Ambulance. One of our basic duties is patrolling the campus grounds on foot and also in our vehicles. In addition to that, we also do escorts. For whatever reason, they either need an escort from their vehicle to the campus or vice versa from the campus to the parking structures.
MATC also provides free shuttle service.
They will take you to either the Health Education Center or they will take you to the 9th and Juneau parking structure.
We actually have a relatively new theft prevention program going on with bicycles right now. We try to let teachers and students know to keep their classrooms and office doors closed when they're unoccupied. Those items in there, such as cell phones and laptops, are expensive and they're easy targets.
I hope you all take advantage of these great free services. For Stormwatch, this is Sarai Perez.
We are joined now by former MATC baseball player and current Miller Park employee Kyle Rogers, who's here to talk to us about the Brewers and the new season upon us. Kyle, welcome to the show, man.
How's it going?
I'm doing all right. So why don't we start with your position at Miller Park? So tell us a little bit about what you all do there and your experiences there at Miller Park as an employee.
Okay. Last year I was an intern, so there we did, for the interns, you get to go around and basically try out everything you want. So I was mostly doing editing and camera work. So this year I'm I guess you could say full employee there, and now they have me doing camera work, editing still, and they are trying to get me to start out on audio producing. So that's going to be a fun spot to learn, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Right, that's awesome. And then so along with that, is that what you're going for in school right now?
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I'm in the TV video production class as well. So I mean, everything that we do here, running the camera, doing the handheld, doing the packages, everything, even with audio and stuff, we do at Miller Park too. So we have the title scoreboard, but that doesn't just mean we do the scoreboard.
Right.
That means we do the editing, the camera work. It's like live directing. It's everything. It's the whole shebang.
Wow, that's a wonderful opportunity that you have there then, especially for your resume build and everything. So being an employee there, do you have any experiences or encounters with any of the baseball players or any pretty significant people that work for Miller Park?
Yeah, I mean, we did have one time Robin Yount come in,
Yep.
and he came into the control room, and everyone was freaking out. You know, I mean, it's Robin Yount, so it was cool.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, as an intern, you have to go on big the cameras and set them up. So when you're doing that, you have all the players out there hitting BP and doing all that. So sometimes they'll just throw balls and stuff up to you, and you see them interacting with all the crowd. And then sometimes when you're out in center field setting up a camera, a home run will come at you, so you have to defend the ball off the camera. So, I mean, it gets pretty fun. You can sometimes talk to the people. They talk back. So.
Right, yeah, of course. They'll look at you and be like, oh, it's the camera guy. Get me on TV. So explain the difference, since you're in the TV production classes here at MATC, explain the difference between working a camera for a show like this and for you know, the MLB for the Brewers and all the camera work with that.
Here at and I guess school, it's like a controlled situation, so it's more like steadier cameras and stuff, and then you know what shots you're going to be doing. I mean, at sports you have set shots too, and you got to get what you want. But with that, it's also action shots, so it's a lot quicker. You have to be able to focus, zoom in really well, and follow it, and give the proper lead room, headroom, and all that. And then even sometimes if you get on the one camera, you have to follow the ball. And so that could get a little tricky because, I mean, they're professionals, so they throw the ball really hard. So that gets tricky, but you get used to it. But, I mean, from going to school to there, it was kind of a big change. But since I did have the correct teaching of how to run a camera, it made it a little bit easier.
Exactly. Well, awesome. And so switching gears a little bit from your job to the Brewers themselves, I understand that now we have this coming season for the Brewers, we have a lot of youngsters on the team. And what's your opinion seeing everything formulating now at Miller Park more and more? And
well, this season, it did just start today, but I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping we do good. I see ourselves, if they're a good bunch of kids, then we're going to be fine. And then in like 2 years, I think we'll be good. So.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So now on to producer Israel Garcia, who gives us an inside look into the world of art with local Milwaukee artists. Take a look.
My name is Billy Asnian. I'm currently a senior at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. I'm a sculpture major. I got into making art when I was a little kid. I was always really creative, and I remember my first day of art class going in, and they told me that we got to draw the whole time, and it was my favorite thing from then on. And the other instance I remember would be when I was 6 years old. I woke up on a Saturday morning and felt like drawing a tiger, and I realized it in my mind and took the back of a box of markers and went and drew a tiger in a cage, and my dad still has it, and that was the first time I accurately represented something from my mind. Art means a lot of different things for me. I'm a very emotional person. Art is my release. Art helps me say things I don't know how to say in any of the languages I know. I'm in the sculpture program right now at UWM in Peck School of the Arts. Started out with 3D concepts, and I realized that I really liked working in 3D and preferred that over 2D work, being painting and drawing and stuff like that. The sculpture lab is kind of like my second home. It's divided up in half, where there's like a little bit of a tabled area and cubbies for students to keep their work. Well, I'll be showing you guys some borosilicate lamp working. What I'll be showing you is with a torch and rods. You use the glass itself, the rods to help shape, graphite reams and paddles to help shape it as well. The glass doesn't stick to graphite. A pendant is basically just a bead, or like a type of ornate bead. There's any number of different ways to make them. The torch I'll be working on allows me to go a little bit hotter than another torch I have, so I'll be able to work with borosilicate glass, which has a higher silica content. It's a little more resilient. After I'm finished at UWM, I'm gonna take a year off, and I'm gonna save up money and go live in Australia for a year. Gonna melt some glass with some friends down there. Really just see where my skill set can take me, being that I know how to weld, I know how to melt glass, and those are applicable skills around the world. So see where I can wind up with that. Ideally, by the time I'm 30, I'd like to be living in the Caribbean with my own studio, melting glass and welding down there. I'm on Facebook, gonna make an artist page soon, Billy Asnian, Instagram, at Basnian, B-A-S-N-I-E-N. Art really helps keep me sane. It's my life, my hobby, my career path. Art's my everything.
My assignment this week was to cover a club, organization, and sport at the college. And there's plenty of great ones here. Anime club, chess club, League of Student Voters, baseball, basketball, etc., etc. But I wanted to cover something that the college doesn't have, something that the students have been asking for years: football.
Now you may think to yourself, why would such a small school want to invest in a football team? But MATC had over 40,000 students enrolled in 2014, which is about the same amount that the University of Wisconsin-Madison had in 2015, just a little over 43,000.
There are some very small community colleges that have football programs. Our rivals could include the Central Lake Raiders out of Minnesota or the East Arizona Gila Monsters. Both schools have 6,000 students each.
But the school wouldn't necessarily rack in any money from the sport. A Huffington Post article found that over 80% of collegiate athletic departments actually lose $11 million or more from their universities yearly. Some of the big schools can't even find a profit.
But I wanted to find out why we didn't have a team from the school's perspective. So I asked the athletic director, Randall Casey, and he gave me a very short but simple answer.
The insurance cost is very high, which is very understandable. Mr. Casey also went to add that, quote, over my 8 years here, a few students have asked about football, and at this time, we are not looking to adding football as a sport here. The NCAA has an entire page on their website dedicated to what coverage student athletes have.
With no football at MATC in the foreseeable future, it looks like I'll have to keep rooting for my Gila Monsters. For Stormwatch, I'm Daniel Hansen.
Thanks, Dan. Hope your Gila monster stays strong. There are many activities and events coming up this week at MATC, so let's take a look at what's happening. Tuesday, April 5th, the Quadrant Series Financial Recovery Rebuilding Credit will be held at the downtown campus at noon in room M612. Wednesday, April 6th, Milwaukee LGBT Career Night will be held at the downtown campus from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. in room M605. Saturday, April 9th, a student engagement event will be held at the downtown campus from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. in room M605. Well, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we are at the end of our show today. I want to thank you all for tuning in today, and I will see you all right here next Monday on Stormwatch. Have a great afternoon.